Days after winning a third consecutive term as Prime Minister, Narendra Modi will hold official talks with President Putin in Moscow. The two countries have held an annual summit since 2000 and have elevated ties to a strategic and privileged partnership. Putin last came to Delhi in 2021 and skipped the G20 summit under India's presidency last year. Modi last met Putin on the sidelines of the SCO summit in Samarkand in 2022.
The 22nd annual summit between India and Russia would provide an opportunity to the two leaders to review the whole range of bilateral issues, including defense, trade linkages, investment ties, energy cooperation. The issue of early discharge of Indian nationals who have been misled into the service of the Russian army is also expected to figure in the discussions.
Modi's Moscow visit coincides with the NATO summit in the White House, where Ukraine's President Zelensky will be in attendance. India has not formally condemned the Russian invasion, despite deepening ties with the US. Delhi sent a diplomat instead of a political leader to the recent Ukraine Peace Conference in Switzerland and refused to sign the official communique because Russia hadn't been invited.
This visit will in that sense help allay fears that we are moving away from Russia or there's some kind of dilution in the relationship. So the one-to-one interaction between Mr. Modi and Mr. Putin will allow Mr. Modi to get a more granular understanding of the war with Ukraine, where Russia is, what are Russia's plans or assessments of how the war is likely to go on.
India today imports more than 40% of its oil from Russia, compared with less than 1% before the war began. Despite the shadow of US sanctions, India has purchased S-400 surface-to-air missiles from Moscow, and its heavy reliance on Russian weaponry continues. And the two countries are exploring an eastern corridor from Chennai to Vladivostok to boost trade.
We look at our relationship with Russia purely from a framework of reference of bilateral relationships.
European leaders have often hoped that India would leverage its ties with Russia in the Ukraine war. India has made it clear that only dialogue and diplomacy involving all stakeholders can bring sustainable peace. As Modi meets Putin, he is unlikely to mediate directly in the conflict in line with India's traditional position. For New Delhi, a larger concern, though, is the growing China-Russia strategic alignment. Smita Sharma, TRT World, New Delhi.